Hey everybody, Danny Maude here. Thanks for joining us. This week we're going to focus on chipping and improving your consistency of strike. So look, it should be pretty straightforward, shouldn't it? But we know, and you know, that it's not. You know, how often do you see balls thinning like this over the back of the green because you've hit the leading edge, or vice versa, you kind of chunk it in front of you here, barely getting the ball moving forward. That's pretty shocking, right? Now, it can sometimes put the fear of death into us. So what we're going to do in this week's training, we're going to discuss some real basics in terms of how you can set up correctly to your chipping every time. We're also going to cover some really tight lies as well, those horrible ones where there's no grass underneath the golf ball. How do you play them? Before we do that, if you're new to the channel and this is one of your first videos, consider subscribing. I release videos just like this one every single week to try and help you improve your game. So let's get started. So what is setup? How do you set up to a chip shot? Well, in an ideal world, we want to use the weight of this golf club to help us chip. We want to allow the gravity of this club to fall down. Because it's so much easier. If I let this club just fall now, it's going to be more repeatable than if I'm directing it all the time. So we want to set up for chipping in a way that allows this to happen more naturally. So the first thing we do is we get the shaft as vertically as we can do, because the more vertical the shaft is, the more likelihood is on a basic chip shot, it can just simply fall down. If I have a shaft angle like this and I swing it back, now the club has gone around too much, and if I allow gravity to fall, it falls down this way. So it's not ideal. So in chipping, we want to take the advantage that we don't need power. In a full shot, yes, we need arcs because we need to generate power. With chipping, we don't. So we can get the club fairly vertical here. I'm going to go down the grip as well. That makes it a little bit more vertical. And then from here, we can take the club back and just allow the natural force of the club now just to fall down. That's the first thing, to get the shaft fairly vertical. The second thing is to get your setup in a much more, simple way so that this happens more naturally. So we're going to get the ball face central just for now. We can move the ball back, we can move it forward depending on the flight that you want to hit the shot. But just for now, we're going to go for a mid-trajectory flight, which is mid-stance. What I want you to do now is this. I want you to imagine a spot here, a spot here. And I want those spots completely in line with the golf ball here. Can you see that? What I don't want to do is have this spot up here, over here, that spot there, so there's suddenly now a kink going on. We want, in order for this lovely just to fall beautifully down consistently, we want all these dots lined up. This way, we're completely in symmetry here, and what we can do is when we let that club come back now and we allow it to fall, it can naturally fall right underneath our sternum, our navel, and it's allowing the club to bottom out right under the balance point of our body. All right, let's have a look at this in action. So we get ourselves set, all lined up here. Feet, I would say a club and a half width apart. I might just turn my left toe out slightly. I'm going to get the shaft fairly vertical here, and all I'm going to do is practice this and get the club just coming back here, and I want to allow the gravity of the club now to fall down underneath me here. Okay, fall down underneath my balance points. There we go, nice and simple, right? Now, what a lot of people do is they don't let the club fall. What they tend to do is they tend to drive the club forward, or they're holding on too tight, they tend to flick it. So the most important thing you want to do in this situation here is hold the club nice and softly, and in a way that, in a sense, you get the sensation of the club swinging back and then falling underneath the balance points. Now, I'm going to put a video in this top right hand corner where I go into a bit more detail on what I like to see as my one-handed exercise. It's gone really well, really popular, which I show people in a sense how you can increase the likelihood of this to happen. When you swing one-handed, you're not as strong, so you allow the weight of the club to work a bit more effectively. So let's have a look at this in action. Another great exercise. So you've got all your your dots lined up, you get yourself set, and what you do now is you let the club head swing. Okay, so it's now just naturally falling like a pendulum underneath those balance points here. And then away we go. And look at how accurate that is. Because it's a pendulum, it just simply tracks on the same line. And it is as simple as that. You'll notice here, when I'm swinging one-handed, the butt stays very close to me here, the head's going because it's a pendulum. I'm allowing the club now to fall naturally here, the butt's here, and the club goes through. At no stage am I swinging with these big arm movements here. No need. We're just allowing the natural forces of this club to work. So, does it work on tight lies and horrible lies? Let's have a look. So it's been really difficult to find a really tight lie in this hole. The greenkeepers do such a great job of keeping the grass in great condition. But I'm going to show you how you can go about working on it. The key with tight lies and when there's no grass under the golf ball, you want to sense that you're kind of gliding the sole plate through the turf. You don't want to be in a sense digging too deep, because that will cause the club to bounce sometimes, thin it and even fat it. So I've got a little trick for you. Get a pen, and what we're going to do here is we're going to scribble over the top of it here like this. So you're going to put a lot of, just a whiteboard marker here, put it on the bottom here, and what we're going to do is we're going to practice when we're swinging here, just same principle, so we can get everything lined up here, shaft nice and vertical, and we're going to allow the gravity of the club to fall underneath us here, yeah, and we're going to wipe off the whiteboard pen at the bottom. That's the aim. And it's all gone, okay? So that's all we're doing. The image here on the lie here is you get yourself set, and we're gonna simply wipe the pen off the bottom of the marker. There we go. That's pretty solid. And all I'm doing here, the reason why it's so consistent is because there's none of me driving. I'm not shifting my body around. I'm not moving it around here. I've got everything lined up, and all I'm doing is allowing the weight of the club to come up here and fall back down here. I love this because it also helps with the rhythm. So many people struggle with distance control because they have almost kind of jerky style actions. Imagine me throwing a ball to you. I would want to do it with some rhythm, wouldn't I? Yeah? I wouldn't jerk it like this, but I see a lot of people with this little twitch. When you start to work on the gravity of the golf club and you allow the weight just to naturally fall like this, momentum just takes over. You don't do anything. All you have to do is make sure that your balance points are lined up, and then you just trust in the process. Use some whiteboard pen to kind of, in a sense, kind of give you an image, and then practice wiping it off. But don't force it, just let the gravity of the club fall through. And it is as simple as that. Okay, remember the one-handed exercise. So let's summarize and go through these points. So stage one, we want the club very vertical because that helps with the pendulum style action. Yeah, we can't get complete pendulum, but it really helps. Stage two, you want all the balance points lined up. So you want 1 point here, 2 all lined up, and then 3 being the ball. This would be off. This would be off. Everything's lined. From there, we're going to then sense that we're going to let the weight of the club come back here, and we're going to trust it to fall now underneath our balance points here. I've said, check the iCard up in this right-hand corner here. One-handed exercises work wonders for this because they really help you sense the balance and the flow of the club here. There's no jerkiness, there's no forcing the issue, like throwing a ball, okay? Once you've done that, maybe put some white, black marker pen on the bottom of your club, and then just practice. Let's start with a one-handed one now, and just literally start to practice wiping it off, backwards and forwards. And there we go. Pretty straightforward. Like all these things, they take a bit of practice, a bit of trust in the process, but once you get it, you just have so much feel. You know, the basic chipping action is really, really straightforward. So get some practicing. If you know some of your friends who are struggling with their chipping, really share this video. I hope it'll really help. And of course, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It really helps the channel. And of course, if you haven't seen one of my videos before and you're new to the channel, maybe consider subscribing so I can send you some more tips and tricks next week. But until next week, have a great golfing week.